What's up, guys? It's day 2 of the motorcycle purchasing adventure. We made it through New York City, George Washington Bridge, all the way to Pennsylvania last night, 250 miles. Camped out in the camper, which the heat didn't work until about 2 a.m. I finally got it going. It was 37 degrees inside the camper and obviously below freezing outside based on this iceberg. We're about to go visit my friend Phil here. He's got one of 16 Factory Triumph flat track bikes, and there's only, I think, 11 known left to exist. 5 are in a museum overseas and 6 someplace else. One of them's right here. You'll never see another one. Stay tuned. Definitely a good morning for a cup of coffee. It's Sunday morning. Yesterday, Junior and I worked on a 40 bike deal. I think he's going to try to close that today. Like I said, we're trying to pick up 300 bikes for this auction. So, beautiful house there. Look at that stone house. Beautiful morning here, too. It's probably around freezing, but it feels warmer because of the sun. But look at that in the distance here. Guys, you waited long enough. Phil, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing just fine, Ken. How about yourself?
Not too shabby. A little cold outside, but I'm warm inside looking at this thing, man. This is, not always do bikes meet my expectations, but I'd say this one meets and exceeds. And I've seen a lot of cool flat track conversion bikes, but never an actual factory racer. Phil, tell us what you know about this stunner.
What I know about this was built in 1968. This is a one of 18 that were made for various Triumph riders, including Gene Romero and Gary Nixon. This particular one was part of Gene Romero's stable. It came from Oklahoma City. This has one of the first 750 cc two-cylinder motors.
68 was that the first year?
Yeah, they made a batch of 200 of these motors, so they'd be legal to race. And of course, the first 18 motors went into these bikes, so that these would be legal for flat track.
The first 18?
Yes.
So
they made 200 motors.
Oh.
Other bikes got other motors.
Okay, so
These
200
bikes.
motors was for homologation reasons, right? So
Exactly.
it really is a factory race motor. But what was
Correct.
different about this than
this
from like?
has bigger pistons, higher compression, Q cams. This is kicking about 62 horsepower out.
What would a stock Bonnie from 68 be putting down? 45 or so?
45.
So this is like 50% more horsepower.
Correct.
What are the odds of seeing another one of these, Phil?
Besides where you're going at, maybe the Barber Museum, practically nowhere except Sammy Miller's museum in outside of Liverpool, England.
Yeah, I think you'd mentioned he
Yeah.
has more than one, right?
Yep.
How many does he have over there? Do you know, off the top of your head?
To my knowledge, Sammy has 12 different ones, but
Wow.
they range from different years. He has
So-
some of the early style racers as well as the later ones.
So the heart of the
And he
beast is
has
the motor.
road racers as well as flat track bikes. Sammy really has one of the most incredible.
So this was an actual factory race bike.
Yes, it was.
Did you know if it had won any
What happened
significant
was,
races?
It was bought at an auction from Gene Romero's in 1995.
Yep.
And it was the bike. It did not have the disc brakes. The disc brakes are period Lockheeds from 68 from Norton. You put the period disc brakes on for it to put on the road. The headlight is from a 67 Triumph Tiger. For the light up front for being street legal. Because
So
of
it's an
course
O-
that wasn't on there. All
That's
that
an O-
had was a number plate. There was no brakes in the front of this.
So it's an OEM Triumph headlight. Yeah.
Correct.
Because they didn't use the brakes in flat track. They wanted as light as fast, which is
That's
really
correct.
kind of dangerous if you think about it. And no brakes.
Exactly. So, in a nutshell, with the Q cams, with the 13.5 to 1 compression, you run aviation gas in this. You hit this thing up to 4,500 RPM or above, and this thing will terrify you.
The serial number is BD42078.
Correct.
Do those signify
Same
anything?
serial number that's on the frame. This is a numbers matching bike.
Wow. Tell me about the frame.
The frame is a Trackmaster frame. The swing arms on all of these flat track bikes, depending on the rider and what he wanted, the swing arms were different lengths and styles.
Maybe for different
As you
tracks
see,
too,
the
right?
style on the swing arm in the back of this is sort of like a triangle together. If you notice here, this comes up this way, and then this bottom rim comes down. You can feel it.
Yep.
Feel the swing arm itself. It's not a box. It's not a round.
Was that for rigidity?
Yes. It's extremely rigid. It tracks like you would not believe.
Wow.
I've actually ridden this bike at Daytona on the track.
Wow.
I took third place in an amateur race with it, and it was the thrill of my life.
I bet it was.
This bike was serviced 3 years ago completely, as in